Hello everyone, Jeff of the Green Review. When should you give up on a dead plant? This is a navel orange, this is a clementine orange. This navel orange, when I got it, had hundreds of leaves and hundreds of flowers. It was beautiful. In 1 week's time, everything died and fell off. It was heartbreaking to see everything going. And the branches were crisp and broken too. It wasn't just losing leaves because it was being transplanted or moved from one place to another. It just died. Now, sometimes plants do that and it's a shame, but sometimes they recover. In this case, this navel orange was put into a cool room in the 50s for months, maybe even 6 months. And in that time, it started sending out some new growth on the trunk. Now it turns out that these new branches are above the graft, and so they are still navel orange branches. And now this has been another 6 months later, so this is almost an entire year since this top died, and we've got these little branches coming out here. They are hanging down and not growing the way we want them to, so we're taking red Velcro here and pulling them up to proper shape, and then we are today going to trim off some of these dead branches. Now I want to keep some of them for future growth to be able to be anchored to. So if I take off some of these smaller little pieces like this, I now have the main structural branches left that I can use to continue tying it on there. Now the clementine did the same thing. The top of it died. There were some lower leaves left, not very many, and on some small branches. And then after several months, it started sending out new growth again. And that growth, as we was beginning to tie it up, is actually exceeding the original plant. So we've got some really nice, good branches in here. But we also have a little sprout that's coming out from below the graft, and it's a trifoliate orange. And so it's coming from the rootstock. It's not the same kind of leaf as the clementine, and it has thorns, and we don't want the thorns either. But mainly we don't want the rootstock to send out its own branches and then let the top die off and have it take over as a rootstock plant. So we're going to be pruning off this one for sure, because it is nasty little thorns that stuck to my thumb already. We want to get rid of these. There's only one on this plant. Anytime you see the trifoliate rootstock branches coming off, we want to get rid of those. And in this case, the top is not very big, it's not very strong, and so we're going to go ahead and prune out those weak little branches. We're going to use the metal stakes to tie it into the upright position, and that should do that one for right now. There are a couple of branches in here that are growing close together, but we want to wait and see which one kind of wins in the battle a little bit here. They're both going in the right direction, both doing what we want them to do. It's hard to make a decision sometimes on some of these. So we're going to see if the tree does any more regrowing this winter that sends some of this in the wrong direction, and then we'll prune out some more of that later. So for right now, that one's done. And I can continue taking off these small twigs on this one and let the top of it look a little strange, but it's going to be a much nicer plant overall as the new parts come back. So what I really wanted to just give you a heads up on is sometimes plants aren't really dead and they need to just rest a little while. I don't know why the top of this one died back so quickly. I think it was probably a frost. I think it was frozen before I got it. I didn't know that at the time, but in doing some research, going back and looking at some of where the plant was growing and the temperatures and stuff, I think the top got frozen. Which is a shame, because it was a beautiful, beautiful tree that had a lot of flowers, and I was really expecting a lot of fruit quickly. Here's an update on the navel orange that we just saw. It's now been 2 full summers since the last video portion, and this is where the plant was cut off, and we have a very nice, very strong and healthy navel orange. It has not bloomed yet, and I'm not sure whether I want to continue staking it up so it'll grow vertical, or whether I want it to be pruned and stay as a bush kind of shape. Right now it's at a really nice size, where it has to go indoors in the wintertime and fit in with all the rest of my citrus plants. So I think I might just cut off a couple of these tips and try to make it bushier in this size and see if I can get some fruit this next year. I just wanted you to see that you shouldn't give up on a plant every time that starts to die. This plant had no leaves for several months and had a couple of sprouts come out several months later that just barely grew, and when you saw it last had been almost dead for 6 months, and then it just come out a little bit. So it has really filled in nicely and is doing very well. So don't give up on every plant just because it loses some leaves or appears to be dead. And this is Jeff with a Greener View. Oh, wait a minute. The clementine is also doing very well, and I need to show you a picture of that too. And now, this has been Jeff with a Greener View.